Hello, my friends. I am Rick, and this is your seat at the table, and we are looking at Cranston Snords Irregulars Battletech supplement, circa model number 1614. This is probably one of my favorite companies, or mech companies, because they're such a flamboyant and out-of-the-box group of individuals. Keep in mind that we now know that they are extensions of Wolf's Dragoons and of the Wolf Dragoon operation sent in by the clans to reconnoiter the inner sphere. At the time of this creation, nobody knew that. Even the designers and writers had no clue that that's what they were going to do. But this makes sense in some kind of convoluted way. The Snords Irregulars are obsessed with collecting things. A lot of it is Star League era stuff. They're an ancient prior to, old Earth stuff, really old stuff. But it's also awesome. They're kind of this Indiana Jones meets BattleTech, and they have this obsession and an eccentric mindset of these people are a great cover for looking around for lost brain catches and Star League supply depots and other things that the Wolves Dragoons want to know about, so they can report back to the clans saying that this is still around, or this place is no longer available, or whatever had been catched in that particular location is now gone and soon be in the hands of the inner sphere. And those places that were not tapped and not discovered would be ready supply houses, materials, and machines that could be then tapped by Wolves Dragoons and for their own use. So it's just a great cover and a fun group of individuals, right? There's also a second follow-up book. Some of these early modules or these early source books for BattleTech to highlight specific units, some of them were kind of, I don't know, kind of lackadaisical a little bit. There's not a whole lot of them. I've already done a couple of videos, and we never see a repeat on them. But some of them are so iconic and so interesting and so fun, like the Black Widow, which is also an extension of Wolf's Dragoons. She has a second, so there's two books of two of these versions, a more updated version and the original. So this is the original, and then there's an updated 20, 30 year later version of these, just like the Grey Death saga. There is the original Grey Death one, which I've already done a video of, and then there is a second one called Day of Heroes, which I have sitting over here in the stack. I read it a while back, and it's on my queue eventually to get to do a review of. Like I said, I have yet to make a dent in my BattleTech collection of material, and is what it is. That's part of the fun. I've already did one, and I will be posting probably later today. This one will be probably for next weekend. But I did this one here. I also have something I want to do. I've spent the last 2 weeks compiling notes on for a different entry. That one I did on 5 things you won't find in the inner sphere has had more impact on my channel than any video I've done to date. It's already, in 3 weeks, it exceeded 1,000 views. It's also bumped and drawn in enough subscribers to push me well over 300, and I'm utterly grateful. I honestly, when I started this channel 5 years ago, I never even in my mind thought I would get 100, let alone 300. So the possibility, maybe in another 6 years, I might actually get 1,000 subscribers. It would be great. One of the things I missed about the earlier YouTube was I used to be able to do videos on the road, so to speak. When I was out at night doing my job or waiting for customers, I could do a short this, that, or other thing for posting on my YouTube channel, but they changed the parameters, so you have to have 1,000 subscribers, etc., in order to do those anymore, unless that's changed yet again and it's worse. I don't know. So anyway, then this is when I got on the plans to do in the near future. I'm not sure how many videos I'm going to get done today. Like I said, this is another tabletop war game that I was thinking about doing a video on. Here's the Hellhounds. I have yet to do. It's just a stack of stuff over here. Plus there's some others that I'm rereading through. I just finished rereading through this one. This one is actually kind of a lost gem. They only made one printing of this particular book. It's 4 battle horses, you see. There's a lot of really interesting material, and we get some insights into Hans Davion's earlier mindset. This is also one of my first modules that I bought after buying Battle Force, and got really interested in playing that as a tabletop war game, and I'll go into that when I go to do that video. But you're here to see this one, Cranston Snords Irregulars. So we've got Cranston Snords Irregulars have widely different reputations depending on who you ask. Katrina Steiner thinks the unit is one of the most effective and unorthodox units in her employment. House Marik would like to rid the inner sphere of the unit, has been trying for many years. Jaime Wolf sees this unit as a band of looters who have made good. One way or another, the Irregulars are probably best known for their ability to get into and out of tight spots created by their never-ending quest for lost artifacts and or treasures of mankind's past. Whether called looters or not, they're still a unit to be reckoned with. All right. So, it says this book describes Cranston Snords Irregulars and its mercenary unit known as Snords Irregulars. Also includes some background on the formation of the Irregulars, as well as brief histories of more important battles and campaigns. All right. Brief history. First actions. Service to Steiner. Cranston Snords Irregulars. Those 3 words conjure up many different images to different people. Some think of them as a mercenary unit bent on gathering together as the valuable reins of the once powerful Star League. To others, they are nothing more than a roving band of looters. Truth, Irregulars were neither and both of these. Their heroics are shrouded in myth or exaggerated, but some of the unit's true history is a matter of public record. Cranston Snords was a mech warrior who piloted an old battered archer that he inherited from his father. After several successful fights, Snord offered his services to Jaime Wolf, who warmly accepted him as a member of the elite mercenary unit Wolf's Dragoons. During Cranston's 2 years with the Dragoons, he was continually in and out of trouble with his commander. More than once, Wolf had to reprimand Snord for looting, but Cranston always managed to wiggle out by saying he was not really a looter, but a collector. As Snord was also a skilled mech warrior, that bought him time with Jaime Wolf. Then he committed an act for which all his skill and bravery could not compensate. During the battle for Royale, Cranston deserted his station. When they found him later, he was searching through the rubble of a building for a chest of artwork rumored to be buried there. Wolf's patience had finally run out, for his command could not tolerate a man who would desert the field of battle to pursue his own gain. Snord was dismissed from the Dragoons and deposited with his mech on a planet crossing. And that's how they officially got their star, right? Service to Steiner. His first actions. All right, so Snord, once again a free man. Freedom does not pay the bills. When he tried to join other units, they would turn him down because of what had happened with Wolf's Dragoons. Within a few months, Snord's funds had all but ran out. He was on the verge of selling his mech just to survive. It was there that he met Melvin McFeeny, the commanding officer at McFeeny's Manglers, a small merc unit. The fateful meeting occurred during a game of cards on the Barron Crossing in 2002. Desperate attempt to improve his situation, Snord had gotten into a high-stakes poker game, putting up his mech as collateral. The actual outcome of the game has been told and retold so many times that few know what really happened. According to the second-hand accounts, Cranston and McFeeny were the last 2 players left. Cranston was betting his mech, which was the only thing he had left in the world. He told McFeeny to make the game fair. McFeeny should bet everything he had in the world. McFeeny bet his unit, including his dropship and his mech. It looked like a sucker bet because McFeeny had been winning all night. In the final draw, however, Cranston won. Cranston Snords had become the proud owner of his own mercenary outfit. Snord was now also the proud owner of the debts McFeeny had run up in the past, and the list of debtors was a long one. The unit consisted of 5 mechs, a dropship with 5 fighters. Only one of the fighters was capable of fighting, though, and only 2 of the mechs had either engines or weaponry that amounted to anything. The dropship itself, a Union-class vessel, was no great prize either. Its hull was scarred from numerous battles. Engines needed exhaustive work. He woke the next morning. Cranston found himself faced with 3 bill collectors all demanding money owed by McFeeney's wranglers. Using the last of his funds, Cranston paid him off. Now he was broke, blah, blah, blah. So, as you can see, it's definitely a colorful unit with a colorful past and a colorful history and a secret that nobody knows until way late. So we got intermission, reprisal. Basically, Snord finds employment with Steiner, and somehow or another he manages to charm Katrina. And she finds him as kind of a scoundrel and a rogue, and a very clever and crafty commander. And the way he seems to beard Marik units and Marik commanders on a regular basis just further endears her to the Archon. Goes on and on there. Let's see. Snord used time on Clinton to rebuild his damaged unit, take on some new men. Several of their mechs needed more major repairs. Meanwhile, negotiations with House Steiner dragged on. Beaten, battered, and broke, Cranston and his men had little with which to bargain. Katrina Steiner, however, took a personal interest in the unit that had fought so well in Rochelle. The result was a contract that differed from any other mercenary agreement in the history of the Succession Wars. The pay was low, but in return, Cranston Snords had the right to select the location of his unit's assignment. He figured that low pay for his unit could be made up by collectibles to be found, and he knew more about the location of these collectibles than did anyone since the Star League era. Cranston also insisted a unit be provided with a permanent facility on the planet in Clinton, and the House Steiner provided the repair parts for his mechs. Final point in the agreement had to do with the unit's name. Having a soft spot in his heart for misfits who had been dismissed by other units, Snord composed his outfit of mostly loners, outcasts, and rebels. The name they chose for themselves was Cranston Snords Irregulars. After several months, the unit was refitted and ready for action. About time, the Steiner world of New Kyoto came under attack by House Marik. New replacement units were being sent to the defense, and Cranston's unit was offered the assignment. Before accepting, he researched the world with the help of Jake Walmer, one of his men, whose hobby was collecting old books. The research showed several major works of art had been taken from Kyoto's museums at the fall of the Star League and buried in underground vaults. Cranston's attack lance leader, Bright Tombleson, also happened to be an expert on Kyoto art, estimated the collection's value to be in the millions. Thus, Snord accepted the assignment, planning to uncover the hidden art treasures and to take his revenge on House Marik at the same time. It goes on and on and on. Katrina Steiner had calculated defense in Kyoto would last 8 months. Cranston Snords Irregulars routed the Marik forces in just under 2 months, mostly due to the dumb luck of the unit and its commander. Katrina Steiner sent her personal congratulations to units, awarding the officers the Steiner Medal of Honor with oak leaf clusters. In the meantime, Cranston unearthed one of the hidden vaults containing lost objects of No Kyoto and spirited them to the planet Clinton. The Irregulars were next transferred to the planet Wing and Marik-controlled space, a move agreeable to Cranston because of providing an opportunity to acquire the famous rare book collections of Devron. Jake Walmer was also enthusiastic about the venture, despite the fact that many House Marik's top line units were dug in on the small planet. Fighting on the Wing was fierce, the heaviest that Snord had ever seen since the Battle for Rochelle. He never forgot his primary purpose for coming to Wing, however, when 2 of his pilots reported intercepting a message about a library that had been discovered by American forces. Cranston and Jake felt certain was the collection of Devron. The intention of capturing the rare books, they hatched a plan for the daring raid. Okay. So, intermission. Between the years of 2006 and 2017, Snords Irregulars were engaged in no less than 6 attacks against House Marik. In those engagements, only one was considered a battle loss. It occurred during the battles of Amity, when the unit deploying to fight a holding action allowed several other units to escape. Though historians call it a loss, the Irregulars consider it a victory for them, as the commander and his men managed to find the lost jewel of Sumatra before retreating. Katrina Steiner enjoyed the exploits of the unit and was a frequent visitor at their museum. Her advisors, however, disliked the Irregulars because Cranston did not follow standard battle tactics or procedures and flagrantly disobeyed orders. In the end, Katrina cared more for the results gained from how well and how hard Snord's Irregulars fought for her. During this time, the unit's museum grew considerably. While Cranston had originally seen the profits from collecting as a means of direct income, he began to notice it was having additional benefits. Men and women of his unit began to take personal pride and interest in the collection. They enjoyed showing it off, began to study about the items in their collection so they could discuss them knowledgeably with visitors. Though maintaining the collection cost the unit part of their pay, the treasures helped bond the members to one another and could greatly affect their morale. So, reprisal, Marik, Janos Marik gets one off on him. The battles at Alexandria, cold reception. So we'll look at the individuals. Command Lance, Captain Cranston Melvin Snord and his archer. Lieutenant Jake Worlmer, one of the first members of the Irregulars. Jake is viewed as the old man of the unit. He's shy and reserved and prefers reading to socializing. Everyone knows his love with Rhonda Snord, but Jake is simply too shy to move beyond a casual friendship with her. The Command Lance, Mechwear Deb Hachu. Skilled mechwear comes from a well-known family in the Commonwealth, known, but Cranston knows why she joined the Irregulars, but he will not discuss that matter with anyone. Deb occasionally contacts her three brothers. Yeah, she's a tough, gnarly so-and-so. She has a passionate hatred of battle masters, and which inflicted most of her wounds. She has sworn to wipe out every one of that class of her belts to the point she will disobey direct orders if she spots a battle master on the field. She also collects body parts of her victims. Just saying, kind of morbid. Then we get to Solomon Storm, who views himself as a aficionado of old videos, right? And so he's kind of a character. Solomon likes to dress from a character of some of the movies he loves to watch. In combat, for example, he dons a pith helmet, sports a bullwhip on his belt. He has recently developed a fondness for old John Wayne movies. His comrades and Irregulars have taken to calling him the Duke. Solomon has an unfortunate tendency to believe on occasion that he is one of his old movies, which can lead to some very bizarre stunts on the battlefield. All right? Said, his desire to add to his collection landed him in trouble more than once. On one occasion, a bandit is supposed to recover a reputed original copy of the ancient video called Star Trek. Indeed, House Davion was about to court-martial him when Cranston offered Solomon an opportunity to join the Irregulars. His skills eventually earned him positions to command the Command Lance. Then we got Lieutenant Wright Tomlinson, kind of a connoisseur of art. Shorty Sneed, whose passion is not so much about collecting things, but in repairing things. It makes him a damn good technician, and he's cheerful, outgoing, and a hard drinker. Clothes are always covered in grease, oil, and mech lubricant. Cranston considered promoting him to commander of Recon Lancers, waiting for the right opportunity. His mech is also a Frankenstein, by the way. At first glimpse, Snordy's mech most wears burst into laughter. The right and center torso and legs of a rifleman, the right arm of a warhammer, and the left arm and left torso of a specially refitted archer. Shorty did a lot of painstaking work on the mech, however, and it functions perfectly. So this is the epitaph of making do with what you got. Right? Very unusual. Then we get to Rhonda Snord, which is Cranston's only living child. Like her father, Rhonda is a skilled mech warrior and fighter. Cranston only reluctantly allowed her to join his unit, however, knowing if he did not, she would take out on her own. She fights with the Irregulars. Cranston figures he can at least keep an eye on her. Rhonda's mech is rigged with a stereo speaker system on the outside. She's a lover and collector of old music, particularly that of Earth's early rock and roll era. Her favorite artist of the 20th century, singer Elvis. She likes to go into battle blasting music. Cranston does not allow his daughter any special treatment. If anything, he holds her back from promotion in order to avoid accusations of favoritism. For her part, Rhonda is devoted to her father, views his work on the museum as Clinton as important for preservation of the remains of old Star League culture. And we get into some various odds and ends individuals. Each one's got their own quirks and their own passions. There's a pair of brothers who like to collect old sports memorabilia. Here's a feller who likes to collect bugs. There's a feller that likes to collect guns. He's also one of these types that is obsessed with his mech. In this particular, his Locust. He's a damn good pilot, which would be much suited for a bigger, better machine, but he absolutely refuses to move out of his Locust. See, on his body, he carries a Mauser 96, a 44 Magnum, Mark V laser pistol, all taking various raids in his career. Winston also wears a cavalry sword he claims dates from the Spanish-American War on Earth. Winston Earson joined the Irregulars several years after meeting Cranston on the Bloodbath of Rochelle, a skilled mech warrior. He joined the Irregulars, hope adding to his collection. On the Battle of Hyde, engines on Winston's mech shut down from severe heat. When he realized that it would take time for the mech to cool down, he opened his cockpit, stood up in the seat, firing away every antique weapon he had. According to his account, he emptied the Mauser's magazine 10 times and went through 16 battery packs for the laser pistol. His shots did not affect the outcome of the battle, but Winston had a wonderful time. Just to give you an idea, some people are crazy and some people are really crazy. So we get into some of the campaigns that they fought and encountered. So here's the mid 3007 when Katrina Steiner called me to military command post in Chaffee to discuss possible assignments. It took taking long for me to sign up any of the assignments would also help in our collecting. Katrina offers us a strike in Danais, which we accepted immediately. Times were lean. We needed the funds from a successful raid. It also goes without saying, I always get a kick out of striking back at House Marik. Plus, Jake had given me the high sign. His record shows several entertainment vessels have been down in heavy jungle at Danais during the fall of the Star League. Now, mind you, entertainment ships are generally not worth much, but by Gaffa's beard, I had a hunch we were onto something here. And I was right. According to Rhonda, one of the ships contained a collection of some of the rarest musical instruments held by the Star League. The ship was in transit from Seoul to Sahara when it was downed by those fools from the Free Worlds League. As you know, those trigger-happy idiots were shooting at everything that flew or moved. Chances were pretty slim that anything on those two downed ships was still intact, but I was willing to take the risk. Katrina wanted us to knock out a repair station that Marik was building. Me, I just wanted to find those ruined ships. Danais is a backwater world, but for some damn reason, House Marik was reinforcing it heavily. We were working with 32nd Lyran Guard, a bunch of green kids ready for a fight. Well, we found one. I wasn't surprised to discover that the Marik militia had more going on Danais than building a repair station. Hell, they were setting up a full production facility for aerospace fighters. So we dropped into a war. Resistance was heavy, especially in the jungle clearings of Rand, while the 32nd provided us cover fire to break the Mariners' front line. We sneaked around and tried to come in across those wrecked ships. What we found was a little bit much more for even us, and the Marik militia was using those ruined ships as their headquarters. Needless to say, things got a little hot. House Marik secretly constructing a small aerospace fighter facility at Danais, along with the already established battle mech repair facilities there. House Steiner dropped elements of the Lyran's 32nd Regiment, along with Cranston Snords Irregulars as a support fire group. Battlefront shifted quickly when the Steiner forces dropped unknowingly near the secret headquarters for the Marik's militia's Amber Regiment. These headquarters were located inside the ruins of two old dropships down in the jungles in the area called Rand. At the end of the day, the Irregulars managed to cut down the guards, capture both command staff and several fine musical instruments for their museum on Clinton. Stroke of Luck, Rochelle, so on and so forth, various operations and things like that. They are a talented and interesting and fun group, and I'm telling you, if you ever get an opportunity to get into a PDF or something for these guys, and it's well worth reading. It's fun, and this is the sort of thing that really sets BattleTech apart and makes it such a fun and interesting entertainment genre to be a participation in. Hey, this is Rick, and I hope you guys have a great weekend.